In this podcast episode, Lois McLatchie Miller recounts a shocking incident in Brussels where she was arrested, strip-searched, and detained for holding a public sign expressing a view she regards as a fundamental truth: that children are not born in the wrong body. The interview with Miller explores her activism around what she describes as trans ideology, her experiences with censorship and police overreach, and her broader advocacy on related social issues, including abortion and family values. Lois opens by describing the events that led to her arrest in Brussels. Alongside a teammate named Chris, she was publicly engaging in conversations about the harms of medical interventions in transgender children, specifically opposing puberty blockers and surgeries for minors. The pair were confronted by aggressive protesters who accused them of fascism and Nazism simply for expressing their views aimed at protecting children. When the police arrived, rather than dispersing the hostile crowd, they focused on arresting Lois and Chris. Despite explaining that they were not protesting but having conversations, the police insisted that a permit was necessary, a claim Lois finds inconsistent with democratic principles of free speech. The police gave them an ultimatum to either remove their signs or be taken to the police station. Choosing to uphold their message, Lois and Chris were arrested. She recounts being strip-searched, a procedure she believed was excessive and unexplained given the nature of their offense. Initially informed they faced administrative fines, the charges escalated at the station to criminal charges of disturbing the peace, though these were eventually downgraded and no penalties imposed. The experience highlighted to Lois the dangers facing free speech activists, especially on contentious cultural issues, and the troubling readiness of authorities to penalize peaceful expression while ignoring hostile mobs. Lois's activism centers on what she terms the horrors of child transition, particularly the administration of puberty blockers and hormone therapies to minors. Despite progress in the UK, including bans on puberty blockers for children, she stresses that the issue is far from settled. She explains that recent developments include a new drug trial in the UK that could allow unlimited numbers of children access to puberty blockers, a move she views as reckless given the documented physical and psychological harms. Moreover, she discusses the broader European context, where she has observed more polarized and ideologically hostile environments toward dissenting views, contrasting these with the British debate that she sees as somewhat more nuanced, with a range of opinions in the media and politics. Lois observes that resistance to her views is often driven by emotional pain and cognitive dissonance, as many supporters of trans interventions feel implicated in harm caused to children. Yet despite the hostility, she insists on the importance of open, honest dialogue and refuses to surrender the right to raise concerns. The persistence of ideological censorship is also noted, with examples drawn not just from transgender issues but other culturally sensitive topics like abortion, where she has witnessed cases of individuals facing criminalization for quiet prayer near abortion clinics, a form of state overreach she finds deeply alarming. The conversation shifts to abortion, where Lois expresses profound concern about recent changes in UK law and policy. She describes the decriminalization of abortion up to birth and the pills by post scheme introduced during COVID-19, which allows women to obtain abortion pills without direct medical supervision. She notes how this policy has led to tragic cases, including late-term abortions conducted by women who misreported how far along the pregnancy was, resulting in what she sees as violations of both maternal and fetal welfare. Lois argues that this trend toward radical liberalization of abortion law is out of step with public opinion and poses significant mental and physical health risks for women. She highlights the absence of mental health support and safeguards for women at late stages of pregnancy seeking abortion, calling the situation horrific and disgusting. The moral and psychological impacts, including for fathers who often have no say in abortion decisions, are also examined. Lois believes society has become atomized, with individual choice isolated from the shared responsibility that should characterize parenting. Her critique extends to what she calls abortion culture, where abortion is normalized and trivialized in public discourse to the detriment of both men and women. She reflects on the erosion of family and fatherhood responsibility as deeply harmful to society, emphasizing the importance of educating young people, especially boys and men, about their role and responsibilities in parenthood, a subject she feels is neglected in modern sex education. Throughout the interview, Lois weaves in a critique of the broader ideological shifts that have contributed to the current social landscape. She views the sexual revolution and certain feminist ideas as having contributed to a blurring and denial of the natural differences between men and women, which she contends has paved the way for confusion about gender identity. Lois laments that motherhood, once celebrated as central to womanhood, is now often regarded as secondary to professional achievement, and that this cultural disintegration fosters the conditions for radical gender ideologies. She further comments on the political right's struggles, noting that conservatism without a foundation in Christian values risks becoming hollow and ineffective. Lois stresses the need for authentic Christian principles to be embodied personally by those advocating for family and social stability, warning against hypocrisy that undermines conservative causes. Despite setbacks and personal trauma, Lois remains resolved to continue speaking out. She sees the preservation of free speech as essential to democratic society and warns that conceding ground on controversial issues today risks wider censorship tomorrow. She encourages participation in ongoing public conversations about children's safety, abortion, and family to resist ideological extremes and restore balance. Lois's message is ultimately one of hope grounded in truth-telling and authentic dialogue. Her experiences underscore the challenges faced by those who dissent against prevailing cultural narratives, but also the vital importance of courage, resilience, and community support in standing for what they believe to be right.